June 1943. Powiat Prison, Warsaw. A Gestapo officer placed 127 letters on an interrogation table. Each letter had passed German censorship. Each contained intelligence for the Polish underground. Each had been intercepted. 12 couriers arrested in one night, all safe houses known, all passwords compromised, all names recorded. The officer looked at the woman across the table. A baker, 44 years old. Her hands were broken, all 10 fingers. Methodical work. Professional interrogation. "Where did you get the letters?" She said nothing. Blood ran from her mouth where 3 teeth used to be. She died 4 hours later. Never spoke. The Gestapo buried her behind the prison. Unmarked grave. Her name was Maria Kowalska. But the officer did not know one thing. The 127 letters on his table were bait. Fake intelligence, planted to be found. The real letters had already reached London. 9,847 letters. Stolen over 4 years, by one man. A postal sorter, 58 years old. Gray hair. Hands that shook from arthritis. The Germans saw him every single day for 4 years. They never looked at him twice. That invisibility killed more German soldiers than entire battalions. The man who built the system that caught Maria never suspected the sorter existed. A postal inspector. Professional. Expert. He improved his security daily for 4 years. He caught everyone. Except the one person who mattered. How did this happen? Stanislaw Nowak had sorted mail for 22 years. He knew 8,000 addresses by memory. He could tell a military stamp from a civilian stamp by the sound it made, hitting the sorting table. Wood pulp paper from German factories made a flatter sound than Polish linen stock. That difference saved his life 4 years later. October 12, 1939. 14 days after Warsaw fell, the main post office on Świętokrzyska Street smelled like wet concrete and burned paper. German soldiers had smashed the front windows during the siege. Rain came in at night. The sorting room floor stayed damp. Cold water seeped through the leather of Stanislaw's work boots. At 6 in the morning, a German officer stood in the center of the sorting room. Tall, clean uniform, polished boots that had never walked through rubble. Oberleutnant Klaus Weber, 38 years old, postal inspector from Berlin before the war. He spoke Polish with a Prussian accent, every word pronounced too correctly, like a man who had studied the language specifically to catch liars. Weber read 22 new regulations. Deutsche Post Osten controlled all mail in occupied Poland. 10% of letters, random inspection. Mail to military hospitals, low priority. Sabotage, death. Who has worked here longest? 3 people raised their hands. Stanislaw was one. His arm felt heavy, like lifting a sandbag. Weber pointed at him. "You will train the German censors, sorting categories, district codes, postal routes. You will not lie." He paused. 2 seconds of silence. "Lying is sabotage." Weber left. 2 young German postal clerks in civilian clothes stayed. They asked questions for 6 hours. They were experts. One had managed a sorting center in Munich, processing 11,000 letters daily. By evening, Stanislaw understood 3 things. First, these censors knew their job. Second, they would catch anything obvious. Third, Weber had chosen experts, not soldiers pretending to be postal workers. That night, Stanislaw walked home through streets with new German names. The walk took 40 minutes. His legs ached. His apartment was cold. No coal for heating. He sat at the kitchen table and wrote numbers in a notebook. 4,000 letters processed daily in his section. 10% inspection meant 400 checks. 2 censors in an 8-hour shift could handle that. The math worked. Weber had built a functional system. Professional, efficient, airtight. Stanislaw closed the notebook. His hands shook. Not from arthritis, from understanding. November 8, 1939. The censorship system had run for 3 weeks. A young courier named Tomasz Kowalski tried to send a coded letter to Krakow. Simple substitution. Harvest meant meeting. Seeds meant weapons. Wheat meant ammunition. The censor caught it in 11 minutes. Gestapo arrested Tomasz that night. Found the code book in his coat lining. Executed him at dawn 3 days later in Pawiak prison. His mother lived 3 blocks away. She heard the shots. She did not know one was her son until Gestapo delivered his coat 4 days later. The code book was still in the lining. They left it there so she would know why. Stanislaw heard from another sorter. That night, he could not eat dinner. Food would not go down. The message was clear. The postal system was not a communication tool anymore. It was a trap, and the trap worked perfectly. January 9th, 1940. A sorter named Piotr Wojcik tried to open a confiscation box during lunch with a bent wire. He thought no one was watching. Weber came down the stairs from his second-floor office. He did not run. He walked. His boots made even sounds on the steps. That was worse than shouting. "You opened restricted material," Weber said quietly. No anger, just facts. "You are dismissed. Report to Gestapo headquarters on Sucha Avenue before noon tomorrow for questioning." Piotr left. He disappeared that night. No one saw him again. After Piotr left, Weber walked to the box, examined the bent wire, looked up at the frosted glass of his office window. 15 meters away. The wire was 2 millimeters thick. Stanislaw understood. Weber had seen a 2-millimeter wire in a gray metal box from 15 meters through, frosted glass. Weber missed nothing. December 23, 1940. Stanislaw sorted a letter from a tank commander to his wife in Hamburg. The envelope was standard field post. Olive green, official stamp. The soldier wrote about his unit transfer. 14th Panzer Division. New position near Rodham. Arrival date January 6th. Supply problems with diesel fuel. Stanislaw put the letter in the outgoing bin. His hands moved automatically. 22 years of muscle memory. His brain caught up 5 seconds later. The letter contained troop movements, unit numbers, logistics problems, arrival dates. Weber's censors had stamped it approved without reading it. Because it came from a German soldier, not to a Polish civilian. Stanislaw looked at the sorting table. 400 field post letters waiting, every one visible to him, every one containing information, every one trusted by Weber because German soldiers were not the enemy. His throat closed. He swallowed. It hurt. He was standing inside the entire German communication system. He saw every piece of mail. He touched every envelope. He read every address. And the only lock on the system was trust. Weber trusted his soldiers. Weber trusted his censors. Weber trusted the 10% random inspection. Weber did not trust Stanislaw. But Weber did not watch him either. Because Stanislaw was furniture. A sorting machine. A man who had done one job for 22 years. Invisible. February 27, 1940, 7 a.m. A bakery on Nowogrodska Street. A woman behind the counter. Middle-aged, plain face, flour on her apron. She looked at him. "You remember addresses? I remember 8,000. Can you remember what you see without writing it down? I have done it for 22 years. She wiped flour from her hands. "My name is Maria Kowalska, 41 years old. I had a son. Gestapo took him in November. I run messages now." Stanislaw said nothing. "Can you steal their mail?" Stanislaw thought about Tomasz Kowalski. 19 years old, baker's apprentice, left-handed, executed for one coded letter. He thought about Piotr Wojcik, disappeared for opening one locked box. He thought about Weber, 15 meters through frosted glass, 2-millimeter wire, missed nothing. He thought about 400 field post letters on his table every day. 8,000 addresses in his memory. 22 years of knowing exactly how postal systems work. Yes, Stanislaw said, but not the way you think. Then how? I will not steal from his system. I will steal from the part he does not watch, the part he trusts, the part that is invisible to him. Which part? Stanislaw looked at her. The German soldiers. They write everything. Weber does not read their mail. He trusts them. That trust will kill him. Maria studied his face. You are risking your life. We are already dead if we do nothing, Stanislaw said. His voice was steady. His hands were not. I have sorted mail for 22 years. This is the only useful thing I know how to do. Maria nodded once. Tuesday mornings, 7 a.m. Bring what you can carry. Stanislaw walked back to the post office. The cold air burned his lungs. His heart hammered against his ribs. He could feel it in his throat. He had just agreed to steal from the most dangerous postal inspector in occupied Poland. A man who saw everything. A man who had built a system specifically to catch people like Stanislaw. Weber missed nothing. Stanislaw would have to become nothing. Stanislaw stole his first letter on March 5th, 1940. He failed. He held the letter 4 seconds too long. His hand froze above the sorting bin, in a room where 40 people moved constantly. 4 seconds of stillness was a spotlight. A co-worker named Helena glanced at him. Just a glance. She looked away, but she had seen. That night, he vomited in the alley behind his apartment. Not from sickness, from understanding how badly he had failed. Helena had seen him freeze. If she mentioned it, if Weber heard, he did not sleep. Every footstep in the hallway sounded like Gestapo boots. Helena never said anything, but Stanislaw learned. 4 seconds was 4 seconds too long. March 12th, second attempt. He brought a cloth lunch bag, planned to drop a letter inside. Simple, quick. The letter rustled, loud. In the quiet sorting room, it sounded like tearing fabric. The supervisor turned, looked directly at him. Problem, Nowak. Stanislaw's mouth opened. No sound came out. His throat had closed. No, sir. Drop my pencil. He bent down, pretended to pick up a pencil. His hands shook so hard the pencil actually fell when he stood. He had to pick it up again for real. The supervisor watched him for 5 seconds, then turned away. 2 attempts, 2 failures. 0 letters stolen. March 19th, third attempt. He tried to memorize a letter's contents. Read it during sorting. Write it down at home. No physical theft, no evidence. He read a letter from a supply officer. Details about ammunition shipments to Krakow. Dates, quantities, routes. He tried to memorize. Got through 2 paragraphs. The third had numbers. 17 trucks, 4,000 rounds, 3 dates. His memory failed. The numbers scrambled. 17 trucks or 70, 4,000 or 14. After 22 years of sorting, he could remember 8,000 addresses. But he could not remember one letter perfectly. Addresses were patterns, letters were chaos. He got home, wrote down what he remembered. It was incomplete, useless. Intelligence needed precision, not guesses. 3 attempts, 3 failures, 0 useful information. Stanislaw stopped trying for 2 weeks. He told Maria he needed time. She nodded. She did not ask why. She had seen failure before. April 2nd, 1940. Stanislaw sorted field post. Afternoon shift. He noticed something. Letters to wounded soldiers in hospitals went into a separate bin, marked Field Hospital Mail. Far left side of the table, away from the main flow. Weber had designated it low priority. Wounded men received mail after active units. Stanislaw watched the hospital bin for 3 days. The censors never checked it. not once. But letters to German soldiers in Polish hospitals, those were trusted. Automatic approval. Because what could a wounded soldier do with information? Weber's logic was perfect. His execution had one gap. The hospital mail bin was in Stanislaw's section. He sorted it. No one supervised that bin because it was not important. April 9th, 4th attempt. Stanislaw chose a letter to Field Hospital 12 in Radom from the soldier's brother, also a soldier, 7th Mountain Division near Krakow. The brother wrote about Alpine training, new equipment, deployment scheduled for May. Stanislaw picked up the letter, read the address, sorted it toward the bin. His hand passed over the bin, kept moving, slid the letter into his coat pocket in one motion. 2 seconds, no pause. Muscle memory from 22 years. No one saw. The sorting room stayed loud. 40 people moving, paper rustling. At the end of shift, Weber's guard checked everyone leaving. Padded pockets, found nothing. Because Stanislaw had moved the letter during lunch, tucked it into his boot, under the inner sole. The paper was thin, folded 4 times. It was smaller than his thumb. The guard never checked boots. Stanislaw walked home. 40 minutes. Every step pressed the letter against the bottom of his foot. He could feel the paper edges through his sock. He gave the letter to Maria the next morning. She read it, looked at him. 1 letter. Yes, we need more. I know. How many can you take? Stanislaw thought about the hospital bin. 50, maybe 60 letters daily. 5 per week, he said. More would be noticed. Maria nodded. 5 is a start. April through June, 1940. Stanislaw stole 5 letters per week. Every Tuesday and Thursday. Always from the hospital mail bin. Always thin envelopes. Always folded 4 times and hidden in his left boot. He developed a system. Pick up letter, read address, sort toward bin, hand passes over, slides into pocket. 2 seconds, no variation. Exact same motion every time, like a machine. But the system had a cost. Physical cost first. Standing 8 hours on a boot with folded paper under the sole created a blister. The blister opened after 2 weeks. Became infected after 4. He could not see a doctor. Could not explain. He wrapped it with cloth at home. The cloth soaked through with fluid and blood. He changed it every night. Kept working. By June, his left foot bled through his sock most days. He walked with a slight limp. His supervisor noticed. Your leg hurt, Nowak? Old injury, Stanislaw said, from before the war. The supervisor looked at him, said nothing, walked away. The limp got worse. Stanislaw started arriving 15 minutes early to practice walking without it. Up and down the hallway. Step, breathe, hide the pain. He lost weight. 9 kilograms in 3 months. His wife noticed. His co-workers noticed. Helena asked if he was sick. Stomach problems, he said. She looked at him the same way she had when he froze for 4 seconds. She knew he was lying. She said nothing. Psychological cost was worse. Every morning, Stanislaw woke at 4:30. Could not sleep past that. His brain would not shut down. He lay in bed and counted the ways Weber could catch him. 37 ways. He counted them every morning. Weber could notice the hospital bin volume decreasing. Weber could install a new sensor for hospital mail. Weber could start weighing outgoing bins. Weber could search boots. Weber could have informants among the workers. Helena could report him. The guard could get more thorough. The infection could force him to see a doctor who would ask questions. 37 ways to die. Some mornings his hands shook so badly he could not button his shirt. His wife had to help him. She asked what was wrong. He said arthritis. She stopped asking. June 4th, 1940. Stanislaw had stolen 63 letters in 3 months. Maria passed them to a courier network. The courier moved them to Warsaw underground leadership. From there to London somehow. Stanislaw did not know the details, did not want to know. That morning, Weber called a floor meeting, all workers to the sorting room. 8 a.m. Stanislaus' stomach dropped. This was it. Weber had noticed 37 ways to die, and one had happened. Weber stood in the center, same clean uniform. He held a piece of paper. Effective immediately, Weber said. All hospital mail requires spot inspection. 10% random selection. Same as international mail. Silence. Stanislaus' vision tunneled. The room tilted. He locked his knees to stay standing. Weber continued. German intelligence has identified a security gap. Wounded soldiers may receive sensitive information from active units. We are closing that gap. He looked across the workers. His eyes passed over Stanislaus. Kept moving, saw nothing unusual. New procedures start tomorrow, Weber said. Dismissed. The workers dispersed. Stanislaus walked to his table, sat down. His legs would not hold him. Helena walked past, stopped, leaned close. Are you sick, Nowak? You look gray. I am fine, he said. She walked away. Stanislaus stared at the hospital mail bin. His only invisible gap. Gone. Weber had found it without even knowing Stanislaus existed. Not because he suspected him, because he was doing his job. Improving the system, closing vulnerabilities, professional postal security. That night, Stanislaus told Maria. She listened. Can you find another way? She asked. I do not know. We need those letters. London needs them. I know. How long do you need? Stanislaus thought. Weber's new system started tomorrow. 10% inspection meant 1 in 10 hospital letters checked, but 90% would not be. The gap was smaller, not closed. I can still take letters, he said, but fewer. Maybe 2 per week instead of 5. 2 is better than 0. Weber will keep improving the system, Stanislaus said. Every week he will close another gap. Eventually there will be nowhere left to hide. Maria looked at him. Then we steal what we can before that happens. How much time do we have? Stanislaus thought about Weber, about the bent wire seen through frosted glass, about regulations added after every failure, about a system that learned and adapted every single day. I do not know, he said. Maybe 6 months, maybe 6 weeks. Then we work faster. June through August 1940. Stanislaus changed methods again. Hospital mail was too risky. He switched to railway worker correspondence. German railway employees were civilians, not soldiers. But they moved military equipment. Their letters mentioned cargo, destinations, schedules. They used code words without knowing it. Coal meant tanks. Wheat meant ammunition. Timber meant artillery. Weber's censors did not know railway terminology. They saw letters about logistics and shipping. Boring, civilian, approved them automatically. Stanislaus took 3 letters per week. Different days, never a pattern. Monday 1 week, Wednesday and Friday the next. Tuesday and Thursday after that. Random selection. No rhythm for Weber to detect. The cost increased. His foot infection spread. By August, he could barely walk. He wrapped it tighter, used 2 layers of cloth. The blood soaked through both layers by midday. He started wearing dark socks so the staining would not show. He stopped eating breakfast. His stomach could not hold food before work. He ate dinner, sometimes. His weight dropped to 58 kilograms. He had weighed 72 in February. His wife threatened to call a doctor. He refused. They fought. First time in 26 years of marriage. She cried. He did not explain. Could not explain. She stopped asking questions. Started looking at him like he was already dead. Maybe he was. September 3rd, 1940. Stanislaus had stolen 147 letters in 6 months. His body was failing. His mind was failing. Every morning felt like drowning. But his hands still worked. 22 years of muscle memory did not fail. Pick up, read, sort, pocket. 2 seconds. Perfect, every time. Maria met him at the bakery. She had news. "London received your letters," she said. They identified troop movements before German High Command finalized them. Railway schedules gave them supply route vulnerabilities. Hospital letters confirmed casualty rates that contradicted German propaganda. She paused. "They want more," Stanislaw laughed. No humor in it. Just air forced through his throat. "More," he said. "Yes. Weber adds new security every month. I am running out of gaps. Can you train someone else? Teach another worker?" Stanislaw thought about Helena, about Piotr who disappeared, about Tomasz executed at 19, about how Weber saw everything. "No," he said. "Training someone means talking to them. Talking means risk. If Weber suspects anything, he will watch everyone. Right now he does not watch me because I am furniture, invisible. Adding another person makes us visible." "Then what do we do?" Stanislaw looked at her. His foot throbbed. His stomach was empty. His hands shook. "I keep stealing," he said, "until Weber catches me or I die. Whichever comes first." Maria said nothing. What was there to say? Stanislaw walked home. The September air was cold, early winter. His coat was too thin. He had lost so much weight it hung loose. He thought about the next 6 months, the next year. How many letters could he steal before the system closed completely? How many gaps remained? Weber was learning faster than Stanislaw could adapt. That was the truth. The postal inspector improved his system daily. Stanislaw could only react. Defense always loses to offense eventually. But not today. Today he had stolen 3 letters. Tomorrow he would steal 2 more. The day after that, 3 again, until Weber caught him, or until his body gave out, or until the war ended. He had sorted mail for 22 years. He would sort it until he could not anymore. That was all he knew how to do. October 1940. Stanislaw had stolen 214 letters in 7 months. He gave them to Maria every Tuesday morning. She passed them to a courier. He never saw results, never received confirmation. He stole them anyway. October 15th, Tuesday, 7 a.m. The bakery. Maria was not there. A different woman stood behind the counter. Younger, 25 maybe. She looked at Stanislaw. "Maria is sick," the woman said. "I am her niece. She said you bring orders on Tuesdays." Stanislaw's throat closed instantly. Saliva turned thick. His heart slammed against his ribs. He could hear it in his ears. This was wrong. Maria never mentioned a niece, never changed routine. 7 months. Same time, same person, always. 14 letters pressed against the sole of his left boot. If he moved wrong, they might crinkle. If this woman was Gestapo, she was listening for any sound. He looked at her, forced his face neutral. 22 years of dealing with angry customers taught him to control his expression, even when his body was screaming. She looked back, her eyes steady. No nervousness, no recognition. Professional. Too professional. "I have no order today," Stanislaw said. His voice came out normal. He did not know how. He turned, walked to the door, did not run. Running meant guilt. Each step felt like walking on broken glass. He walked out. The street was empty. Dawn light. Cold October air hit his face like ice water. He walked. 40 minutes home. He counted his steps. 1,432 steps from bakery to apartment. Counting kept his brain from spiraling into panic. No one followed. No cars, no voices, no shots. He reached his building, climbed the stairs, unlocked his door, closed it, locked it, sat at the kitchen table. His hands started shaking then. Violent shaking, not the arthritis tremor, full body tremor. His teeth chattered. He pressed his hands flat on the table. They would not stop. He had just walked away from what might have been a Gestapo trap, with 14 pieces of stolen intelligence on his body. If that woman was an agent, she had his face, his description. They would come for him tonight, tomorrow, soon. He waited 3 days for the knock on the door. It never came. October 19th, Friday morning. Stanislaw went back to the bakery. Maria was there, flour on her apron, tired eyes. "You did not come Tuesday," she said quietly. "Your niece was there." Maria looked at him. "I have no niece." Stanislaw's hands went cold. "A woman, 25 years old. She said you were sick." Maria's face did not change. "Gestapo tests the network sometimes. They plant people, see who shows up. You did the right thing." The letters. "Bring them Sunday, early, 5 in the morning, back entrance." Stanislaw brought them Sunday. Maria took them. She looked at the stack. 14 letters in 3 days. "You are taking more risks. Weber is closing gaps faster. I take what I can while I can." Maria nodded. She did not say be careful. Careful was impossible. They both knew. December 1940. Maria met him at the back entrance. 5 a.m. She looked at him differently. "They want more," she said. "Who wants more?" "London." She paused. "The letters are reaching London. They confirmed it 3 weeks ago." Stanislaw felt his legs weaken. He leaned against the doorframe. 11 months, 412 letters. He had believed they might be reaching somewhere. Believing was different from knowing. "How do you know?" he said. "A courier brought confirmation. London sent a message. They call you Source Ghost. They said your intelligence identified 43 German units, 72 supply routes, 28 logistics problems." She handed him a piece of paper, folded small. He unfolded it. 1 sentence, handwritten in English. "Source, Ghost. Continue. Intelligence is gold." Stanislaw stared at the paper. His hands shook. Not from arthritis, from something else. Relief maybe, or terror, or both. "They know the letters work," Maria said. "They want you to take more risks, send more volume." Stanislaw looked at her. "More risks means shorter survival time. I know. Weber closes gaps every 3 months. I am running out of methods." "I know," Maria said again. "But they asked. I am telling you. The choice is yours." Stanislaw folded the paper, put it in his pocket. The only piece of evidence he had ever kept. Stupid, dangerous. He kept it anyway. "I will send what I can," he said. He walked home. The paper felt like it weighed 10 kilograms in his pocket. When he got home, he burned it, watched it turn to ash in the kitchen stove. The words stayed visible until the last second, then gone. But he remembered the sentence. Intelligence is gold. 412 letters were gold. He went to work Monday, stole 5 more letters instead of 3. January 1941. Weber installed a new procedure. All workers now signed a daily log when entering and leaving. Name, time in, time out, signature. The log sat on a desk by the front door. A guard watched it constantly. Stanislaw signed in at 6 a.m., signed out at 3 p.m. Every day, his handwriting was steady. Practice. 22 years of writing addresses taught him to control a pen even when his hands shook. But the log created a record, a pattern. If Weber ever suspected him, the log would show Stanislaw was present every day. Letters went missing. Stanislaw could not avoid signing. Refusing would create suspicion. He signed, hated every stroke of the pen. Each signature was evidence. March 1941. Weber called a floor meeting, all workers. 8 a.m. Stanislaw's stomach dropped. Every time Weber gathered everyone, a new restriction followed. Weber stood in the center. He held a folder. "German intelligence has identified a security vulnerability," Weber said. Personal correspondence from factory workers to soldiers contains sensitive production information. Effective immediately, all letters from industrial workers require content review before approval. Silence. Stanislaw's vision tunneled. The factory worker gap. Closed. Weber had found it. New sensors will screen for production terminology. Weber continued. Output numbers, equipment types, facility names, anything classified as industrial intelligence. He looked at the workers. This is not punishment. This is security. Dismissed. The workers dispersed. Stanislaw walked to his table, sat down. His hands were shaking. Not from arthritis, from rage and despair mixed. 11 months, 412 letters through that method. The gap that had worked longest. Gone. Weber improved his system again. Not because he suspected Stanislaw, because he was doing his job, protecting German communications, professional, systematic, relentless. Stanislaw stared at the sorting table. Every gap he found, Weber closed. Hospital mail, railway workers, factory correspondence. One by one, the invisible spaces were disappearing. How long before there were none left? March 12th, Tuesday morning, bakery, 5 a.m. Stanislaw told Maria. She listened. "Can you find another method?" she asked. Stanislaw thought. He had been thinking for 3 days, searching for gaps, finding few. "Military mail from the Eastern Front," he said. "Soldiers writing home from Russia." Weber's sensors focus on mail coming into Poland, not mail leaving German units going east. There might be a gap. Might. I do not know until I try. Maria nodded. "How long do you think this gap will last?" Stanislaw looked at her. Weber closes gaps in 3 to 6 months once he identifies a vulnerability. Maybe less now. He is learning faster. Then we have 3 months. Maybe. Then we work. March through April, 1941. Stanislaw switched methods again. Eastern Front mail. Soldiers writing home from Soviet territories. Letters about brutal winters, endless fighting, supply failures, low morale. German censors barely glanced at them. Soldiers complaining about conditions was normal. Expected, not suspicious. Stanislaw took 5 letters per week. The volume was lower but safer. Less scrutiny, more intelligence value. Soldiers on the Eastern Front wrote about horror, about freezing, about watching friends die, about units destroyed, about ammunition shortages. Every letter was propaganda gold for the Allies. Every letter proved the Eastern Campaign was grinding German units into dust. Stanislaw folded them thin, put them in his boot, brought them to Maria every Sunday. Maria looked worse each week, thinner, sicker. She coughed constantly, wet cough. Lung infection, probably. She refused to see a doctor. Doctors asked questions. Questions created risk. May 4th, Sunday, 5 a.m. Stanislaw brought 18 letters. Maria opened the door. She could barely stand. Her face was gray, fever sweat on her forehead. "You need a doctor," Stanislaw said. "No doctors." Maria. "Take the letters to Zofia," she said. "Apartment 14, 3rd floor, building across the street. Password is Harvest. You need... Go!" She closed the door. Stanislaw heard her collapse on the other side. He almost knocked, almost forced his way in. He did not. Forcing help on someone who refused it was how you got them killed. He crossed the street, found the building, 3rd floor, apartment 14, knocked. A woman answered. 60 years old, maybe. Hard face, suspicious eyes. "Harvest," Stanislaw said. She opened the door wider, took the letters, closed the door without speaking. Stanislaw walked home. He never saw Maria again. May 9th. Gestapo raided the bakery at dawn. 6 men. They took Maria to Pawiak prison. Stanislaw heard that afternoon from a worker whose sister lived on that street. The sister had watched from her window. She saw them drag Maria out. Maria could barely walk. 2 officers held her upright. They put her in a car. The car drove away. Stanislaw showed nothing, nodded, went back to sorting mail. Inside his chest, something collapsed. Not his heart, his lungs. Breathing became work. Each breath had to be forced. May 12th, 3 days later. The same worker approached Stanislaw during lunch break. She spoke quietly. "My sister heard. The woman from the bakery. She died yesterday morning." Stanislaw said nothing. Gestapo brought the body back, left it in the street in front of the bakery. Warning to the neighborhood. Stanislaw's hands stopped moving. "What did she look like?" The worker hesitated. "My sister said her hands were broken, all the fingers. Her face was unrecognizable." Stanislaw nodded, put down his lunch. He could not eat. "My sister said something else," the worker continued. Gestapo told the neighbors Maria did not give them any names. They said she died silent. They seemed angry about that. Stanislaw stood, walked to the bathroom, locked the door, sat on the floor. Maria Kowalska, 44 years old, baker, lost her son to Gestapo in November 1939. Ran messages for 18 months after. Took 573 letters from him. Every Sunday, 5 a.m. Never late, never scared, never stopped. They broke all her fingers, destroyed her face, killed her over 3 days. She gave them nothing. Stanislaw sat on the bathroom floor for 11 minutes. His supervisor knocked, asked if he was sick. "Yes," Stanislaw said. "True." He stood, washed his face, went back to work, sorted mail for 4 more hours. His hands moved automatically. 22 years of muscle memory. His brain was somewhere else, watching Maria die, over and over. That night he could not sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw broken fingers, a face made unrecognizable, a body left in the street as warning. He went to work the next day, sorted mail, stole 4 letters, put them in his boot. May 18th, Sunday morning, 5 o'clock. Stanislaw brought the letters to Zofia, apartment 14. She opened the door, looked at him. "You heard about Maria," she said. Not a question. "Yes." "Will you stop?" Stanislaw thought about broken fingers, about dying silent, about 573 letters delivered before the end. "No," he said. Zofia took the letters, nodded once. "Good." She closed the door. Stanislaw walked home. The May morning was warm. Birds sang. Sunlight came through the trees. The world looked beautiful. Maria was dead. Her body had been left in the street, like garbage, her fingers broken, her face destroyed. The work continued. That was all there was. June 1941. Germany invaded the Soviet Union. Operation Barbarossa. 3 million German soldiers crossed the border. The invasion changed everything. Mail volume from the Eastern Front exploded. Soldiers wrote home constantly. Letters about advance, about victory, about endless Russian territory, about cold even in summer nights, about supply lines stretched too thin. Stanislaw sorted 12,000 letters per week, double the previous volume. The sorting room ran 2 shifts now, morning and night. He worked both, 16 hours daily. His body screamed. His foot infection returned. He ignored it. Because the letters contained gold. A corporal wrote his mother about his unit advancing 400 kilometers in 2 weeks. Fuel trucks could not keep pace. Tanks sat empty. A supply officer wrote his wife about winter clothing production delays. The army expected to be in Moscow by October. Nobody planned for winter fighting. A medic wrote his father about frostbite cases in July. Soldiers sleeping on frozen ground at night even in summer. Every letter told the same story. The German army was advancing, but the advance was killing them. Stanislaw stole 10 letters per week. More than ever, more than safe. He did not care about safety anymore. Maria was dead. Weber was closing gaps. The window was closing. He took what he could while he could. July 1941. Weber noticed the mail volume increase. He adapted. He hired 4 additional censors. The inspection rate stayed at 10%, but coverage expanded. The censors now worked 3 shifts, 24-hour operation. No gaps in time. Weber also changed the random selection method. Previously, censors chose every 10th letter. Predictable. Now they used a dice system. Roll determines which letter gets inspected. 1 through 6. Completely random. No pattern. Stanislaw watched Weber implement this change. Professional training. Logical improvement. Weber was not reacting to Stanislaw. He did not know Stanislaw existed. He was just doing his job, making the system better, closing vulnerabilities. That made him impossible to predict. August 1941. Stanislaw had stolen 643 letters in 14 months. He gave them to Zofia every Sunday. 5 a.m. She took them without speaking. Her hands still shook when she touched them. August 10th. Sunday. Stanislaw brought 12 letters. Zofia opened the door, looked at him. "They arrested another courier last week," she said. "4th one this year." Stanislaw said nothing. "Gestapo is improving their methods," Zofia continued. "They watch networks longer now. Map connections. Wait until they have everyone, then arrest all at once." "How long do we have?" Stanislaw asked. Zofia looked at him. Her face was gray. She was 62 years old. She looked 80. "I do not know. Weeks, maybe days." "Will you stop?" She took the letters. "No." "Will you?" "No." She nodded, closed the door. Stanislaw walked home. The August morning was warm. His left foot bled through his sock. He had walked on an infected wound for 3 months. The pain was constant now, background noise. He thought about Zofia, 62 years old, hands shaking, waiting for Gestapo, still taking letters. He thought about Maria, dead on a street, fingers broken, face destroyed. He thought about himself, 58 years old, bleeding, working 16-hour shifts, stealing from a system designed by an expert who improved it daily. How long before Weber's hand touched his shoulder? September 1941. Weber installed another new procedure. All letters from the Eastern Front now required keyword screening. The censors had a list. 47 prohibited terms: retreat, defeat, freezing, starvation, casualties, winter, Moscow, delay, problem, failure. Any letter containing those words got full content review. Weber posted the list on the censor room wall. Stanislaw saw it during a break. He read the list, memorized it. That night he sat at his kitchen table, thought about the letters he had been stealing. Half contained prohibited keywords. Weber's new system would catch them. The Eastern Front gap was closing, not completely, but narrowing, fast. Stanislaw needed a new method. October 1941. Stanislaw found one. Letters from German civilians to soldiers rarely got inspected. The censors focused on military mail. Soldier to soldier, soldier to home. But civilian to soldier mail was considered low risk. Mothers, wives, sisters. What intelligence could they contain? Stanislaw noticed the gap. Civilian letters often mentioned soldiers' replies. "You wrote that your unit moved to Smolensk. You said the winter gear has not arrived. You mentioned ammunition shortages in your last letter." The civilians were quoting military information back to soldiers, confirming details, creating records. Weber's censors missed it. They read the civilian letters as harmless family correspondence. They did not see the intelligence hidden in the replies. Stanislaw started stealing those letters. 5 per week, thin envelopes, easy to fold, easy to hide. The method worked for 2 months. December 1941. Germany failed to take Moscow. The Soviet counteroffensive began. The German army retreated. Winter arrived. -40 degrees. Soldiers froze to death in their sleep. The letters from the front changed. No more talk of victory, no more advance reports, just cold, hunger, death, despair. A private wrote his mother that half his company died from frostbite, not combat, just cold. A sergeant wrote his wife that they burned furniture to stay warm. No firewood, no coal. A lieutenant wrote his brother that he had not eaten warm food in 3 weeks. Supply trucks froze. Engines would not start. Stanislaw stole these letters, folded them, put them in his boot, brought them to Zofia. The letters were propaganda beyond value. They proved the Eastern Front was collapsing, not from Soviet strength, from winter, from logistics, from decisions made in June that assumed Moscow would fall by October. Every letter was evidence of strategic failure. January 1942. Weber closed the civilian letter gap. Floor meeting, 8 a.m. Weber announced a new policy. All letters to soldiers now required inspection. 10% random selection applied to incoming civilian mail, same as military correspondence. German intelligence identified a vulnerability, Weber said. Civilians inadvertently quote sensitive information from soldiers' letters. We are closing this gap. He did not look at Stanislaw, did not suspect anyone. Just improved the system. Professional, methodical, relentless. Stanislav sat at his sorting table after the meeting, stared at the piles of mail. Every method he found, Weber closed. Hospital mail, railway workers, factory correspondence, Eastern Front letters, civilian replies. One by one, the gaps disappeared. Weber was learning faster than Stanislaw could adapt. That was the truth. The postal inspector improved his system weekly. Stanislaw could only react. Defense always loses to offense, eventually. How many gaps remained? 2, 1, none. February 1942. Stanislaw found what might be the last gap. Damaged mail. Letters that arrived torn, water-stained, partially destroyed. The censors had a separate bin for them. Low priority. Most got discarded. Some got repackaged and sent anyway. No one inspected damaged mail carefully. It was assumed to be accidents, transport damage, weather damage, normal losses. Stanislaw started taking letters from the damaged bin. Letters that were already torn, already stained, already flagged as low value. He took 2 per week, no more. Any more would be noticed. The method was desperate. The intelligence was incomplete. Torn letters missing pages. Water-damaged text barely readable. But fragments were better than nothing. A fragment about troop movements. A fragment about supply routes. A fragment about morale collapse. Stanislaw brought the fragments to Zofia. She looked at them. "This is all you can get now," she said. Not a question. Yes, she took them. Then we take fragments. March 1942 through March 1943. 1 year. Stanislaw stole 328 letters in 12 months. The volume dropped. The methods got more dangerous. The gaps kept closing. Weber added new procedures every month. Keyword screening expanded to 63 prohibited terms. Random inspection rate increased to 15%. Guards started checking workers' boots. Stanislaw had to find new hiding places. His sock, his waistband, once inside his mouth during a surprise inspection. The infection in his foot became permanent. He could not walk without pain. He lost 14 more kilograms. His weight dropped to 44 kilograms. His wife begged him to see a doctor. He refused. She stopped asking, started looking at him like he was already dead. Maybe he was. Zofia looked worse every week. Her hands shook constantly now. Not just when taking letters. Always. She was 73 years old. She looked 90. In March 1943, she did not answer the door. Stanislaw knocked 3 times. No response. He tried the handle. Unlocked. He opened the door. Zofia sat in a chair by the window. Dead. Natural causes, probably. Heart failure. She was 73. Her body had simply given out. On the table next to her sat a stack of letters. 40 letters, waiting to be passed to the next courier. She had died before delivering them. Stanislaw took the letters, added his own 12, 52 letters total. He did not know who the next courier was, did not know where to bring them. He left Zofia sitting by the window, closed the door quietly. He brought the letters home, hid them under a floorboard in his kitchen, waited for someone to contact him. No one did. The network was broken. Maria dead. Zofia dead. The couriers arrested or disappeared. The chain was severed. Stanislaw had 52 letters. Intelligence gold. Nowhere to send them. He kept stealing anyway. Because stopping meant the system won. Continuing meant maybe it did not. April 1943. Weber called Stanislaw to his office. Second floor. Frosted glass door. Stanislaw climbed the stairs. Each step hurt. His foot infection had spread. Walking felt like stepping on broken glass. He knocked. Weber's voice said, "Enter." Stanislaw opened the door. Weber sat behind a desk. Clean, organized, professional. "Sit, Nowak." Stanislaw sat. His heart hammered. This was it. Weber knew. 4 years of stealing. Over. Weber looked at him. "You have worked here 26 years. Yes, sir. You are 58 years old. You look 70. You are sick." Stanislaw said nothing. "I am reassigning you," Weber said. "Effective next week. You will work half shifts, 4 hours daily, morning only, lighter duties. You have served long enough." Stanislaw stared at him. "Why?" Weber looked surprised. "Because you are dying, Nowak. I am not cruel. You have been a reliable worker for 4 years under difficult conditions. I am giving you easier work." He pushed a paper across the desk. "Sign here. The reassignment is official." Stanislaw signed. His hand shook. Not from fear, from understanding. Weber did not suspect him. After 4 years, 971 letters stolen. Weber thought Stanislaw was just a sick old man who needed lighter work. Stanislaw stood. "Thank you, sir." "You are dismissed." Stanislaw left, walked down the stairs, out the building, 40 minutes home. Weber had just made Stanislaw's job easier. Given him more time, more opportunity, out of kindness. That kindness would kill him. April 1943, 3 a.m. Stanislaw opened the door. 2 men stood in the hallway. Not Gestapo, Polish resistance. One was 40 years old. One was 23. Both looked exhausted. The older man spoke. "Password is harvest." Stanislaw stared at them. "Maria is dead. Zofia is dead. The network." "We know," the older man said. "We are what is left. Can we come in?" Stanislaw stepped aside. They entered, closed the door quietly. The older man looked at the kitchen table, at the copied letters, at the pen, at Stanislaw's shaking hand. "You are Source Ghost," he said. "Not a question. I do not have a name. London does. They call you Source Ghost. They sent a message 3 weeks ago. They need you to continue." Stanislaw laughed. No humor, just exhausted air. "Continue how? I have 52 letters. No way to deliver them. I was copying them to hide before I die." The younger man spoke. "We are the new couriers. The network rebuilt. Smaller, careful. We can move letters again." "How do I know you are not Gestapo?" The older man reached into his coat. Stanislaw's hand went to a kitchen knife on the table. The man moved slowly, pulled out a piece of paper, unfolded it, handed it to Stanislaw. 1 sentence, handwritten, English. "Source Ghost saved 847 lives last winter. Continue." Stanislaw stared at the paper. His hands shook so badly, The paper rustled. 847, he said quietly. Intelligence you provided helped evacuate units before German encirclements. Identified weak supply points for sabotage. Confirmed casualty rates that changed Allied strategy. The older man paused. London says you are the most valuable single intelligence source in Poland. Stanislaw sat down. His legs would not hold him. 847 lives. He had never known. Never received confirmation beyond that first note 2 years ago. He had stolen 971 letters, thinking maybe they reached somewhere. Maybe they helped. Now he knew. The younger courier picked up the 52 letters from under the floorboard. "We will take these tonight. Can you continue stealing?" Weber reassigned me to half shifts, 4 hours daily. He thinks I am dying. Are you? Stanislaw looked at his hands. Skeletal, shaking. The infection in his foot had spread to his knee. He weighed 44 kilograms. He could not sleep, could not eat, could barely stand. "Yes," he said. "How long do you have?" "Weeks, maybe days." The older courier nodded. "Then we take what we can get. Every letter helps, even one." Stanislaw thought about Weber, about 4 years of improving the system, about gaps closing, about the dice system, about keyword lists, about boot inspections. "There are almost no gaps left," Stanislaw said. "Weber has closed everything. I am stealing from damaged mail now. Fragments, incomplete intelligence. Fragments are enough. For how long?" The courier looked at him. "Until you cannot anymore, or until we get arrested, or until the war ends, whichever comes first." They left at 4 a.m., took the 52 letters, disappeared into the dark. Stanislaw sat at his kitchen table until dawn, looked at his hands, at the copied letters he had started, at the pen. 847 lives. He went to work that morning, 4-hour shift, sorted mail, stole 2 letters from the damaged bin, put them in his sock. The work continued. April 1943 through August 1944. 16 months. Stanislaw stole 312 more letters. The couriers came every 2 weeks, took what he had, brought confirmation from London. The intelligence was still valuable, still needed. But Stanislaw was dying. His weight dropped to 38 kilograms. The infection spread from his foot to his knee. He could not walk without a cane. His supervisor suggested he retire. Stanislaw refused. Weber visited him twice, asked if he needed medical help. Stanislaw declined. Weber looked concerned, genuinely concerned. A good manager watching a loyal employee die. Weber never suspected. Not once. 4 years and 8 months. 1,283 letters stolen. Weber saw a dying old man. Nothing more. That blindness was Stanislaw's final weapon. August 1944. Warsaw Uprising. The Polish resistance rose. 63 days of fighting. The city burned. The post office closed. Weber evacuated with German forces. The sorting room was abandoned. Stanislaw could not fight, could barely walk. He stayed in his apartment, listened to gunfire, waited. The uprising failed. The Soviets watched from across the river, did not help. The Germans crushed the resistance, killed 200,000 civilians, destroyed 85% of the city. Stanislaw survived. He did not know why. Luck maybe. January 1945. Soviet army liberated Warsaw. What remained? Rubble, ash, ghosts. Stanislaw was still alive, 59 years old, weighed 32 kilograms, could not leave his apartment. The infection had reached his hip. Sepsis was killing him. Slowly. A Soviet officer came, asked about occupation, asked about collaboration, asked about resistance. Stanislaw said nothing, gave no names, mentioned no networks. The officer left. 2 days later, a different man came. Not Soviet, not German, Polish, civilian clothes. He spoke quietly. "You are Source Ghost." Stanislaw said nothing. The man put an envelope on the table. "From London. They wanted you to have this." He left. Stanislaw opened the envelope. One page, typed, English. Someone had translated it into Polish by hand underneath. A list. Every piece of intelligence Source Ghost provided. Every operation it influenced. Every life it saved. 1,283 letters stolen over 4 years and 8 months. Confirmed intelligence on 214 German units. 147 supply routes identified for sabotage. 83 logistics bottlenecks exploited. Casualty data that influenced 12 major Allied operations. Estimated lives saved, 2,300. At the bottom, one sentence, handwritten. "The Ghost saved more lives than most battalions. We will never forget." Stanislaw read it 3 times, then burned it. Watched the paper turn to ash. The numbers stayed in his memory. 2,300 lives. He had sorted mail for 26 years. Stolen letters for 4 years and 8 months. Lost 40 kilograms. Lost his health. Lost Maria. Lost Zofia. Lost everyone. 2,300 people lived because of it. He did not know if that was worth the cost. He would never know. March 1945. Stanislaw died. Sepsis, kidney failure, starvation. His body simply stopped. He was 59 years old. Weighed 29 kilograms at death. The infection had consumed him from the inside. His wife buried him in a mass grave. No ceremony, no marker. Just another body among thousands. She never knew what he did. He never told her. She thought he was a postal worker who got sick. Nothing more. 26 years of marriage. She never knew her husband saved 2,300 lives. June 1962. Klaus Weber died in Bavaria. 70 years old. Heart attack. He had been a school teacher for 17 years after the war. Quiet life, no trouble. He wrote letters to his nephew occasionally. In one letter from 1958, he mentioned his work in Warsaw. He wrote one sentence about it. "I built a perfect postal security system. I still do not understand how intelligence leaked through it." He never learned about Source Ghost. Never learned a 54-year-old Polish sorter had stolen from him for 4 years. Never learned that his kindness in giving Stanislaw lighter work had extended the intelligence operation by 6 months. Weber died thinking his system worked. In a way, it did. It caught everyone except the one person who mattered. A researcher named Anna Kowalska was digitizing World War II Polish resistance records at the Imperial War Museum in London. She opened a box marked Source Ghost, Poland 1940 to 1944. Inside were 9,847 letters. Original German field post, soldier handwriting, stamps from Warsaw, sorted, catalogued, preserved. Every letter had a notation. Source Ghost, Warsaw P.O., verified. Anna read the file summary. One man, 4 years, 8 months, postal worker, name unknown, died, March 1945. No surviving records. She found one additional document, a British intelligence memo from January 1945. Source Ghost presumed dead. Network confirmed handler died of sepsis, Warsaw, March 1945. Age approximately 60. Identity never confirmed. Recommend posthumous recognition. The recommendation was never acted on. No one knew his name. Anna spent 3 months cross-referencing the letters with Warsaw postal records from 1939 to 1944. She found fragments, employment logs, signatures. One name appeared on sorting room logs for 4 years. Perfect attendance. Signed in every day, 6 a.m., signed out at 3 p.m. Later changed to 4-hour shifts in April 1943. Stanislaw Nowak, born 1886, hired 1914, 26 years service, no other records, no arrest record, no death certificate, just disappeared in March 1945. Anna found one more thing, a photograph. Warsaw Post Office staff, 1938. 42 people standing in front of the building. One man in the back row, short, thin, 52 years old, serious face, hands at his sides. Caption underneath, identified everyone by name. Back row, fourth from left, S. Nowak. Anna stared at the photograph. This man had stolen 9,847 letters, had saved 2,300 lives, had died weighing 29 kilograms in a mass grave. No one knew, no one remembered. His wife did not know, his co-workers did not know, Weber did not know. The ghost remained a ghost. Anna published her research. Source: Ghost, the unknown hero of Warsaw. The Polish government issued a posthumous medal, sent it to city records. No surviving family could be found. The medal sits in a museum in Warsaw now. Glass case, small plaque. Stanislaw Nowak, 1886 to 1945. Postal worker. Source: Ghost. Saved 2,300 lives. 42 words, a photograph, a medal. That is all that remains. Anna was interviewed about her research. A journalist asked her one question. Do you think it was worth it? He lost everything, his health, his life. No one knew, no one thanked him. Was it worth it? Anna thought for a long time. I do not know, she said. 2,300 people lived. Stanislaw Nowak died alone in a mass grave. I do not know how to measure those things against each other. She paused. I found one letter in the archive, from a British soldier to his mother, 1944. He wrote that his unit was evacuated from an encirclement based on intelligence from Source: Ghost. He wrote, "Someone in Warsaw saved our lives. We will never know who." That soldier lived to age 86, had 4 children, 12 grandchildren. All of them exist because Stanislaw Nowak stole a letter in 1943. But Stanislaw died weighing 29 kilograms, in pain, alone. The journalist asked again, was it worth it? Anna looked at the photograph. Stanislaw Nowak, back row, fourth from left, serious face. I do not have a good answer, she said. The museum in Warsaw closes at 6 in the evening. Guards turn off the lights, lock the doors. The medal sits in the dark. Glass case, small plaque, 42 words, a photograph. A ghost who saved 2,300 lives. A man who died alone. Both things are true. The ghost remains. Stanislaw Nowak, sordid male for 43 years. 22 years before the war. 4 years during occupation. 17 years after liberation in a rebuilt Warsaw post office. He never told anyone. Not his wife, not his children, not his grandchildren. Weber became a postal administrator in West Germany. After his release from POW camp in 1947, he improved mail security systems for 23 years, professional until retirement. Both men did their jobs. Both men survived. Both men kept secrets. Who won? There is no good answer. If stories like this matter to you, stories where the math does not give clean conclusions, subscribe. We tell one forgotten story every week. Leave a comment if your family kept secrets like Stanislaw, or if you think Weber knew.